What's up, everybody? We have got what I'm gonna call the bad day playoffs because both these guys had a pretty bad day today. It's gonna be the Teal Terran B-Breed going up against his green Zerg opponent, Kevin Lee. So let's start off with B-Breed. He took a long trip out over to New Jersey, otherwise known as America's butthole, and went to the DMV and ultimately wasn't able to get a New Jersey license. So wasted a trip for nothing. But that isn't really as bad as this man here, who got a flat tire, took it to the shop, got a ticket, found out there was a nail embedded inside his tire, had to replace that tire, now got home, didn't have any running water, so he had to go all the way to his parents' house for a shower. And to top it all off, he has really bad allergies. Now, I'm not too sure about the last one. I think that's probably just an excuse for when he inevitably loses. But yeah, both these guys probably want to be taking out some of their aggression right now. But only one can come out victorious. I wasn't really paying too close attention to the openings, but it looks like it was pretty standard, I think, from both sides. To have the low ground wall from B-Breed, he went for the early Reaper, going for a factory and reactor now, expansion on the way. So this looks like pretty much what we've seen from him in all of his ZVZs. Kevin's side of things, I think this was a hatch gas pool. Speed on the way, gas continuing to be mined, also pretty standard for Kevin. Now, Reaper gonna get 2 Zerglings, so that's already a pretty decent start for the Reaper. I think 1 Ling is acceptable, but losing that Reaper, that is suddenly not good for the Terran player. So 2 Lings went down, 1 Reaper. That ends up being a good exchange for the Zerg, who makes a few more Zerglings, and that's a little suspicious. Pretty early Baneling nest as well. And delayed 3rd. You do normally see a Zerg put down their 3rd. Usually like right after the natural's done. Oftentimes even before speed gets started. So I wonder if Kevin's going for some aggression. The Lings do run into the natural, but it looks like they got cleaned up by the Marine and a couple Hellions. So nice defense there from B-Breed, taking out those 8 Lings. And once again, the Overlord positioning kind of grabby. This guy over here really doesn't serve any purpose. And okay, Kevin is going to be moving him, so that's good at least. This guy also pretty useless. But at least they are slowly floating along. B-Breed is going for what seems to be that... I guess, are we calling it the Zerg Killer 2.0? I think at this point we can call it that because he has had some pretty great success with it, especially against the players in the Bubbly Frog SC2 League. And we do see that 6 Hellion hit squad he does like to go for. Might get a Queen here. Does take out a Creep Tumor, which is already not too bad. Ling's gonna try to go for the surround, and they do get 3 Hellions right off the bat. The other 3 look like they're gonna go down as well, so very nice defense there from Kevin Lee as he starts off 6 more drones, as well as that patented Kevin Lee Spire before his bases are even saturated. As we can see, only 13 out of 16 here. Third base completely empty. And we're going to see a bit of a Ling run by perhaps, but it looks like the wall is going to be good enough. I think, is that a little hole? I'm not sure if the Lings can fit in there. I'm not sure if they even want to, because it's kind of like a funnel. The 4 Marines might be enough to deal with that anyways. And with the siege tank, B-Breed's going to be just fine. But he is going to need to prepare for the Spire, which will be completing in about 30 seconds or so. And B-Breed, I don't think he's really gotten any scouting information done at all. Yeah, no scans going down in the natural or main. So he is currently in the dark. And the Spire gonna be finishing up momentarily. Kevin's gonna have enough money for, I think, 7 mutas right off the bat. But instead, gonna start 6 more drones, and there we go. There's the 7 mutas. And B-Breed does have 2 defensive missile turrets. I think those are just blind safety turrets, because, yeah, he still didn't scan, but he does, of course, know who his opponent is. Does know he loves those Spires, those mutas, those flappy boys, and he does get 2 preemptive missile turrets. I think he might need maybe another one over here, kind of just defending the outskirts of his base, and then maybe keep his Marines in between. Now, those mutas are out on the field now. They're going to be making their way towards the natural base of B-Breed. And, B-Breed's moving out with his main army, so kind of out of position there. This missile turret barely not finishing, and it is going to get killed, actually. That is super unfortunate. No reaction from the army of B-Breed, as he's kind of just not doing anything. There he goes. He does react. Big stim being forced out, and that's already a win in and of itself from Kevin, but no really crazy damage being done so far. He does take out that missile turret. There's a little bit of damage on the supply depots, and I think he got a couple SCVs, but not too bad just yet. And that, of course, puts B-Breed on the back foot, and these mutas still alive, still causing havoc. And now they're gonna start harassing the third base. A few SCVs there, taking out yet another missile turret. Again, not crazy damage, but it keeps his opponent forced back when he would probably want to be attacking right now. And it kind of forces him to be defensive, and it frees up Kevin to really just start playing his own game. He's getting his two at this point. Bit supply block, so he has 5 overlords on the way, but he's been slowly droning his third. A few workers not working. Also getting his 4th base, so Kevin pretty much untouched this whole game. And now he has the freedom to maybe drone up. 53, kind of a low drone count, but this is Kevin we're talking about. And so far, things looking pretty good for him. Mutas flying in once again. Not really doing a whole lot still. I think he did lose a couple of them. But still, just being a nuisance. And B-Breed, he hasn't been able to go for that attack just yet. Looks like perhaps he is going to be doing that now. But these siege tanks kind of trailing behind. And now they do get unsieged and brought forward, but Kevin does have an opportunity to pounce on this before the siege tanks link up with the rest of the army, and B-Breed kind of tipping his hand a little bit by attacking that tumor. It does give away his position and allows Kevin to think about how he wants to engage this. Siege tanks do show up and siege up, however, so things are going to be a little bit tricky from this point on. I don't love this siege positioning. I think probably should have tucked it away in that little cranny there. Mutas fly in to dive on that siege tank. Does take it out, but there is a lot of stuff behind this. Thor getting some decent shots off on the Mutas, and oh my god, the Thor stoking up so many Baneling hits. That was absolutely disastrous for Kevin, who lost so much army there, but he does take out most of the Terran as well, so things kind of even right now. Army supply is favoring the Terran, but a lot of that is in medevacs. And with the Ling reinforcements, that should be enough to take out everything. B-Breed forced to lift off. But it was dicey for both players. I wouldn't want to be in either of their shoes during that fight. Things look like they are stabilizing now. Kevin with 9 more Mutas on the way, so he is looking just fine right now. Army supply still favoring the Terran just a bit, but again, a lot of that is in these medevacs, which of course don't really attack, don't really do a whole lot of damage. They're supporting units, and the upgrade's going to be favoring the Zerg as well. +2 infantry weapons, moments away from finishing, but armor quite a ways behind. And Kevin also has that flyer weapons as well. And these are a lot of Mutas now. They are gonna pick up a few reinforcements, and that's not bad at all. B-Breed looks like he wants to go for the counterattack. He scans ahead to see what Kevin has for the defense. But we only have 1 siege tank over here for the Terran, and I don't know, that looks a little rough. Here comes Kevin coming in from both angles. I don't know if that was intentional, but that is going to be a good engagement. Cleans up the entire Terran army, and I don't know if B-Breed can stay in this game much longer. I think he will, but I am content with calling it at this point. It's a 63 drone Zerg at 125 supply with 51 SCV Terran, who's at 93. Neither player really spending their bank that well, but everything points to the Zerg winning this game eventually. Let's see if B-Breed can prove me wrong. He does get a few more barracks in the main base, but I think he's going to need a little bit more than that to have any hope of winning this game. Muta's going to fly into the natural, maybe take out a refinery. B-Breed forced to just pull everything back. Doesn't even get to intercept the Mutas. And things just getting worse for B-Breed. Now, his one saving grace is that his SCV count is at 60. It is just a little bit lower than the 62 now of his opponent. But that is really the only thing he has going for him, as Hive Tech is up and running. We have the Ultralisk Cavern, 7 Ultras on the way, 3 chitinous plating, adrenal glands, everything on the way for the Zerg player, who is now sitting at a very nice 69 drone count. We do have 4th base landing for B-Breed. Going to be morphing that into a planetary, I assume. There we go. A bit late there, but I guess it's fine. Muta's still flying around, just kind of being annoying. Gonna get Single Marine, maybe a Marauder, maybe another Marauder. B-Breed just kind of scrambling, trying to get some shots on these mutas. The Thors do fire a couple of their volleys, but yeah, nothing really substantial being exchanged there. Now, here comes a Terran push. Army supply are dead even, but Kevin's gonna jump on this before B-Breed's really ready. The creep still present, so that's gonna give the Zerg units a little extra boost, and everything's just gonna get swallowed up by this sea of green. And now I think B-Breed will have to call it, and GG does indeed get called. Kevin Lee back with a vengeance. Welcome back, folks. This is game number 2 in this series between the Teal Terran B-Breed and the Green Zerg Kevin Lee. Excellent showing there from Kevin. Not sure really what he did differently compared to their last series, but does look like Kevin came prepared this time around and never really looked like he was in too much trouble. I guess that one attack from B-Breed was a little bit close, but that was really the only questionable moment in the game for Kevin. We are going to see a hatch, a gas pool once again, and it looks like it was 16 hatch, 16 pool, 16 gas, which is kind of early. Not going to be early enough for any sort of aggression, but it is a little bit earlier than standard. It looks like that was also a 16 pool as well, so 16, 16, 16. Little bit suboptimal, but it's fine. Now, low ground, supply depot, and barracks once again for B-Breed. Reaper on the way. I'm gonna be seeing a command center imminently. And yeah, just gonna be same old openings, same old crappy overlord positioning. Now, I don't mind the Overlord out here for a little bit, just to see if there's any SCVs trying to throw down bunkers. But once that timing has passed, I do really think you should move this Overlord usually around here, the back of the main base, so you can float it in for a scout later on, but hold that thought. Reaper gonna dive in. I'm gonna look for some damage. I'm not gonna find any Zergling kills. Looks like actually does get one. A bit of a miss micro there from Kevin, and losing another one. Hold on. Suddenly that is not too good. And gonna lose another Zergling as well. Very uncharacteristic there. And even the fourth one, this is absolutely insane. 4 kills on that Reaper. But in terms of Overlord positioning, I personally think somewhere outside the main is the best. But if not, maybe just like some of these corridors, watching them over the side here to see any move outs, that would be fine as well. This first Overlord, not sure what it's doing here. That should be somewhere over here, just to spot the front of the wall. Maybe catch any move outs over there as well. Some maps will have like that tower, of course, and 4 Lings just running in, and Bibri kind of opening the door for them as well. So letting them in, they are going to get 1 SCV, but they do go down to the Hellions, so fairly even trade there. Third base on the way for Kevin, which is a little bit earlier than he usually goes for. We do have Hellions number, well, I was going to say 5 and 6, but he's just making 1. So Hellion number 5 going to be popping out momentarily. And is he going to go with this squad of units? Looks like yes. It is 1 less Hellion than we are used to seeing, and 3 more Marines than we're used to seeing. They might be able to pick off this Overlord, but it looks like they are not going to be going for that. We do have a handful of Lings for Kevin, so he shouldn't really take any damage from this, but maybe these Overlords will go down. These poorly placed Overlords, I can't stress that enough. And, oh, just barely getting away! And Bibri doesn't want to walk all the way back, so maybe he'll come back for it later. Kevin wisely morphing that into an Overseer, so that will replenish all its health. But Bibri going for the attack now, and Kevin gets almost the complete surround, and it is going to be enough to clean up this attacking force of Bibri. So once again, defense is solid for the Zerg player, who's going for a big counterattack now. Luckily, Bibri's wall is closed. Does have the siege tank behind that, so Zergling's not going to be able to do a whole lot there. This is a lot of wasted supply in Zerglings. So Kevin's worker count only at 39, still a bit higher than his opponent, but not as high as it really should be at this point of the game. Spire once again being produced. Not a huge shocker there, of course, but Bibri, does he know? And it looks like no. We do have double engineering bay on the way, so he will have access to missile turrets. Will he make any is the question. And no scans just yet for Bibri. We'll need to identify that sooner rather than later. He does have a blind missile turret in production, which is nice. Another one being produced in the natural, and should be seeing one in the third, maybe. Here comes Bibri once again, looking for another attack, perhaps. And Kevin's Overlord's not going to be spotting that, it looks like. He does have a fairly respectable army of Lingbane right now. So I don't think Bibri will be able to find too much damage. It does depend on these tanks, which he does siege up. So it is going to be tricky to engage into this, actually. Let's see how Kevin does with this. Mutas, 4 of them, are going to be able to get a little bit of damage done on one of the tanks. And no big stim there. I like that out of Bibri. And oh, don't want to venture too far away from your siege tanks. Oh my god. Oh no! Oh no, Bibri! Tanks completely naked, and I think with that, Kevin gonna, well, Muta's gonna take out one of them to start things off. The Lingbane kind of taking the long way around, but they do find the Marines eventually. Second tank does end up going down at the cost of all the Mutas. Scratch that. All but one of the Mutas. And we do have 3 more mutas, so okay. Not all the mutas, never mind that. But I think the attack has essentially been thwarted. We do still have reinforcements, which I don't know about that. I think you should just go home because this army not very scary. Kevin could just jump on this and take it all out. And that is exactly what he is going to do. One Widow Mine in the mix, not burrowing, does end up burrowing. And ooh, gets a big shot, 16 kills. But the rest of the Terran army does get cleaned up. And amidst all that, Kevin floating 3,000 minerals. His drone count still not really doing a whole lot. 3rd base still not fully saturated. 4th on the way. But things once again looking pretty solid for the Green Zerg player, who is up 10 worker supply as well as 10 army. Now B-Breed closing that gap a little as he produces more units. Lots of money in the bank for B-Breed as well. So gonna need a few more production facilities. Does start up another barracks. Gets another missile turret for the defense. And Kevin going for a 5th base as well. I'd really like to see Kevin mine out these gold minerals. We don't see that out of him on this map usually. And I don't know why. It makes this easier to defend. It gives you a little bit of extra money there. No real reason not to mine those out if you're going for that base anyways. Mutas want to try to do some harassment. They took out something there, but not a whole lot of damage being done in that little exchange. Supply counts surprisingly even, but there is a huge mineral bank for Kevin Lee. His hive is done. No hive tech on the way just yet. No Ultralisk Cavern. No Vipers. No Greater Spire. Not even researching adrenal glands. So, what are you up to, Kevin Lee? B-Breed, he is coming in for another attack. 2 tanks sieged up. Make that... Wait, yeah, it is 2 because there's one under here. I hadn't seen that initially, but I was right once again. Mutas, they did take out that 1 tank. There's only 5 of them left. This Terran army, not too scary, but tanks gonna be formidable. And Kevin really gonna have to think about how he wants to engage this. Maybe split up half your army there, half your army here, and try to buy as much time as possible, and eventually go for it. He did make another round of Mutalisks, which aren't really going to do a whole lot as long as this Thor is alive. B-Breed once again leaving his tanks naked, but Muta's getting a little ahead of themselves. Do lose a lot of them, but here comes the Ling Bane, and they are going to swallow up most of the Terran army, and it looks like the Lings are going to clean up the rest. Natural Hatchery did go down, as well as 12 drones, so it wasn't a complete loss for B-Breed, who earns himself a 13 worker lead, a 35 overall supply lead. However, Kevin with a lot of money in the bank, and he is saving that for these Ultras, which he'll be able to start as soon as this Ultralisk Cavern completes. Now, if B-Breed was going to keep on pushing, I think this would be super scary for Kevin. But if he's able to get up to those Ultras, I think that's going to flip this game on its head. Let's see how it goes. Now, B-Breed does have his 4th base. Keep in mind, he does have a pretty hefty worker lead. So, I don't know. Actually, all of a sudden, I'm not loving the spot out of Kevin. He does start up 3 Ultralisks. Adrenal on the way, chitinous plating on the way, but only +1 armor for the Zerg. And part of the strength of Ultralisks is just how much armor they have when they're fully maxed out. I think it's 7 or 8. Someone fact check me on that. Ultras with +3 and chitinous plating. I think it's, I want to say 7, but that's pretty substantial. That decreases all incoming attack by 7, which of course makes Ultras super tanky and beefy. But here comes B-Breed once again. He scans ahead. Gonna take out a Creep Tumor. And what is Kevin's plan of engagement here? He's just gonna run down the ramp. There is only one siege tank in the mix, which does go down. And oh, some Banelings crashing into Marauders. That is suboptimal, but it looks like there is enough Zerg here to clean up the Terran army once again. But B-Breed still with the supply lead, still with a pretty strong economy behind this. And we saw this in one of the games last time these guys faced off, where B-Breed just kept attacking, Kevin kept defending, but B-Breed just ultimately had too strong of an economy and was able to do it all day long. Kevin, he's not out of this just yet. He has droned back up to 71 and still fairly even in supply. But his base kind of looking rough right now. These bases aren't even connected by creep. There's this empty patch here, which he's trying to clean up. This hatchery at half HP. The upgrade's only 2-1 for the Zerg compared to the 3-2 for the Terran. But I do like this army a bit more. Ling Bane Ultra, very classic composition. We do have ghosts starting to get mixed in, but we do know B-Breed's ghost control not the best. We do have 2 of them right now. So let's see if B-Breed has been working on that ghost control. Kevin does have this base almost fully saturated. He did mine out those gold minerals, thankfully. He does have this base and another base being produced over here at the, what is that, 2 o'clock position, I guess? But B-Breed, he is maxed out and ready for yet another attack. Kevin, likewise, just about maxed out. Let's call 197 maxed out. So, going to be a fairly even fight with this next engagement. However, B-Breed with a much larger bank does venture onto creep. Maybe Kevin is going to pull the trigger while there is some creep left, but only coming from one angle. And does take out all the tanks. We do hear the death throes of some of those ghosts, but few snipes do go off. Not going to be enough to clean up everything, but they do get the hatchery. They do get 7 drones as well. And behind this, B-Breed with his massive bank is going to reproduce that army. And Kevin, well, could go for a counterattack, but maybe just wants to gather up his troops, morph in some Baneling, maybe drop some transfusions on some of these softened up Ultralisks. The larva dying there as the creep receded. And we do finally have that +3 Carapace being researched, +1 ranged as well, as we see Kevin getting that Hydralisk den. Probably not going to be for pure Hydras, most likely just going to be for lurkers down the line. Looks like nothing really being produced. We do have a lot of money for Kevin, but what's the plan here? 70 Zerglings all at once. Okay, that's certainly a choice. Hydralisk Den did finish, but we do not have that Lurker Den just yet. And we do have yet another base being taken by B-Breed at this 8 o'clock position, I guess. If this is 2, then this must be 8. So, yeah, income still favoring the Terran. And his army, actually, with these ghosts mixed in, with these liberators mixed in, I don't hate it. I still think Lingbane Ultra very difficult to deal with. So I'm going to come down to the fights from this point on, I think. And Kevin just going to run in from one angle. And this is a very tight corridor. I don't like that at all. The Banelings do get some pretty good connections on a lot of the ghosts. I think all the ghosts end up going down, but likewise, a lot of the army of Kevin went down as well. So can't really continue that fight with these liberators in the air, with this planetary holding down this position. So Kevin does back up, makes a lot more lings, gonna be morphing some of those into banelings, a couple of corruptors on the way to deal with the liberators. Kevin does have a 20-something supply lead right now. And a bit of a Ling run by, running into the natural, gonna get a few ghosts for free, and that is pretty cash money there, I would say. Just a few Ling, that's essentially free at this stage of the game. B-Breed forced to pull back a lot of his stuff. I think losing yet another ghost there. I don't know if he has Cloak. No cloak on the ghost, so that's pretty unfortunate as well. He does start that up as I say that. Yeah, it would have been nice to cloak those ghosts, save them from getting wiped out by the Zerglings. I think that's a pretty rough way to die. I mean, look at the Zerglings. Like, and keep in mind, these are like tiger-sized, so something like that. These crazy sharp claws and fangs, and not to mention they're super fast. It's pretty scary. Here comes B-Breed once again. He is maxed out. Got a few liberators holding down some key locations. Single siege tank. I think his splash damage is a bit lacking here. One unsiege tank. What was he doing? But Kevin just gonna stream in from one angle yet again. We all know that is less than ideal. B-Breed pulling way back. Gonna preserve most of his Marines here. These Liberators in the sky dishing out justice. And he's gonna inch them forward, slowly siege up this base. And oh, that is so annoying to deal with. Just inching them up one by one. Slowly choking out the Zerg from this position. Drone's gonna have to be evacuated. That base does go down, and yeah, there's no way you can run down this ramp into these Liberators. You just gotta give up this position here. And where's the anti-air from Kevin? 7 Corruptors on the way, but that's it. B-Breed, he is gonna continue this siege. Gonna move these Liberators up one by one, maybe 4 by 4. As he unsieges 4 of them. And we do have one back here as well. I do think his ground siege is lacking. By that I mean siege tanks or Widow Mines. We do not have any of those. Corruptors do clean up a couple Liberators on the front there. But the bio does stem up to defend. Snipes going down on the Corruptors. Do take out a couple of those as well. Now, as most of the Liberators do go down, Kevin is going to run down the ramp, take some additional Liberator fire, but he is going to be able to chase this Terran army all the way back. And back, he's just going to keep pressing forward with this attack. Going to go for the planetary as well. The repair not really happening. So that planetary does go down. This secondary planetary that was holding down the choke, that will go down as well. 36 SCVs going down in that attack. So huge win there from Kevin. Much needed to get his footing back in this game. You know, he does have about a 15-16 supply advantage right now. And B-Breed, kind of caught out of position. Some siege tanks do go down, and Kevin just continuing the pressure. B-Breed not able to group up his reinforcements, and he is going to have to call out GG in this game number 2. Welcome back to game number 3 in this series. What a scrappy game number 2 we saw. But we are now looking at the main base of the man who is down 0-2. It is B-Breed. And his opponent in the green, the Zerg player, with some pretty solid play last game. Despite finding himself in some poor positions, it is Kevin Lee. I do think the lack of those really big damage units did hurt B-Breed in that last game. He was in a pretty good spot for a lot of that game, but kind of foregoing the tanks towards the end there, and of course the ghost control was less than perfect. Did of course lose a few of them to the Ling run by, didn't have cloak, and yeah, I mean, ghost, very difficult unit to use. I can't really fault him for not being perfect with those. But other than that, I don't know, maybe more Thors could have been good. I'm not really sure. My Terran is bad, to say the least, so can't really offer too much insight there. Looks like this game gonna be opening up the same as the last two: hatch gas pool, low ground depot, barracks, command center, Reaper on the way. And then we're undoubtedly gonna be seeing a factory, a reactor on this barracks. We're gonna see the old switcheroo. We're gonna see double Hellion production. We're gonna see a second barracks. We're gonna see a third command center. And this Reaper is going to be making its way up into the natural of Kevin Lee. Let's see if it can get some Zergling kills once again. So far, nothing substantial being done just yet. do have that link speed on the way. We do still have gas being mined. I really don't know why he does this. It is honestly worth it to pull at least 2 drones off of that. You get that extra mineral income, you go for a 3rd base, you drone up that 3rd as well, and I mean, it's not like you're going for any sort of super aggressive Ling Bane attack or anything, so this gas really useless at this stage of the game. But you know, it is Kevin after all. Now, B-Breed not going for that 3rd command center just yet. We do have those double Hellions. Ling's gonna make their way into the natural. That is not a full wall. Uh-oh. That is what we call in this business a Timbo wall. It looks like the Hellions, Reaper are gonna be enough to clean that up. And he is gonna close up that little hole there. A little awkward. But better now than later on when there's like 30 Zerglings running in. Do have that 3rd base in production for the Zerg player. And layer on the way as well. 6 more drones in, 6 more Lings in production. Not sure why. 6, well, now it's going to be 8, but 8 not really enough to defend a whole lot, not really enough to attack a whole lot. Kind of just a random number there. B-Breed, he is going to settle on 5 Hellions. Going to float that factory into the main for a tech lab, and now finally 3rd command center gonna be started a bit later than he usually gets it, but I guess he is just scared of his opponent, Kevin Lee, and his aggressive nature. We are gonna see a Spire once again, so Kevin not playing around. He's not gonna go for any silly Roach Hydra play. He's not gonna go for any Nidus play, any weird stuff like that. He is going with his bread and butter. He wants to make a statement tonight, folks. And we do have an Overseer floating in for scouting. And we don't always see this out of Kevin either. He is usually content to just, blindly go for his Spire play. But he does go for a scout this time around. And I think this changeling did give him enough information with this move out, which is not that scary. 5 Hellions and a handful of Marines. It is a bit of a weird attack, so maybe that'll work in his favor. But yeah, I think the Ling Bane is just going to be enough to absolutely shut that down, which it does. And yeah, no splash damage with that army whatsoever. That is absolutely a no-no against Ling Bane. We do finally have a siege tank showing up, but the rest of the Terran forces have been essentially cleaned up. Now we do have 5 mutas on the way, and Kevin just gonna run down the ramp and gobble up these Terran units. B-Breed with that bad habit of his, just kind of loitering in the middle of nowhere, unsieged, and Kevin capitalizing on that. So nothing really going B-Breed's way this time around. He does have a few missile turrets in production, so he's going to be fairly safe against the mutas. I guess Kevin's drone count, not really excellent. 50 drones to 43 SCVs. But every exchange we've seen thus far has been quite heavily in favor of the Zerg player. Creep spread, a little ugly, but at least it is happening. You do kind of usually see it spread like every which way, but Kevin just kind of spreading them in one single direction, and then another little avenue down this side as well. Better than nothing, of course. Here come the mutas. They do take out one missile turret. The repairs not in time from B-Breed. That's going to allow these mutas to cause more trouble than they really should have. And this missile turret does get finished up in time. So that's going to at least be able to push the mutas back a little bit. They do dive on top of the tank and get that as well. So another nice pick off there. Kevin just being so annoying with his Flappy Boys. But despite that, B-Breed still keeping up in the worker count. 46 to 53 is pretty good for the Terran. Kevin going to be committing even more to the mutas. 7 more on the way, as these existing 7 are going to be picking off a few more units here and there, just continuing to be annoying. I don't know what these drones are doing. What in tarnation? These guys defecting from the Zerg army. They want to just look at trees instead, and there's some pretty trees, I guess. Got some snow on them. It's nice and peaceful on this area of the map. We don't have any war going on over here, so these drones just kind of chilling. Mutas gonna fly into the main, take out another missile turret, and that is gonna open up this part of the base for more damage, but Marines do stim and shoo the mutas away. But once again, some big stims being forced out, and Kevin is just free to do his own thing back at home. He is at a nice 69 worker count. Of course, 4 of those are over here, so there's that. Mutas still just roaming the map. We got 2 Zerglings. Keep an eye on the watchtowers there. Muta's gonna fly into the natural, take out yet another missile turret, just being so annoying. Refinery going down. Might see another one going down as well. And B-Breed just running around like a chicken with his head cut off. These mutas just being so annoying. And Kevin has droned all the way up to 82. I didn't know Kevin could count that high. But look at where we are. Now, Kevin's 1-1 just finishing. B-Breed's 2-2 already halfway done. So he has that going for him. But that's kind of about it at this point. Army supply, I guess, does favor B-Breed, but that's only because Kevin has not spent his bank. Mutas flying into the 3rd, gonna take out another refinery, a few SCVs. Just being so annoying. And B-Breed, he has had it with these mutas. He's just going for the full-on counterattack. Repair is good that time around. Thor, oh no, clogging up the door. And those are some units you really would like with this attack, which is commencing now for B-Breed. Only 1 siege tank holding down the line. A single Widow Mine as well. That's kind of awkward. But oh, these units! Oh no! You really want these with the army. That would help so much against the mutas. But I don't know. I feel like this push is just a little too slow. The 2-2 did finish, so if there ever was a time, it would have to be now before the 2-2 of the Zerg catches up. But look at this huge Lingbane army. I don't know if the Terran can deal with that with no siege tanks, no widow mines, and Kevin just waiting, being very patient. 2-2 going to be finishing in about 15 seconds. Ultra's going to be popping out in about 15 seconds. And once all that completes, it's going to be super hard for the Terran to remain in this game, quite honestly. Dims in with a fraction of his units, sees the super enormous Zerg force, and B-Breed's got to be pooping his pants right now as the Ling Bane engulfs the Terran army, the Ultras as well, just cleaving everything in their path. Marines doing their darndest, but they are gonna get sliced and diced. And Kevin not going for the attack just yet, but in he goes now. GG is gonna have to be called, and Kevin with the 3-0 this time around.